Hello! Before the video starts, just a quick note, I haven't used or looked at any leaks or anything like that. All the ideas in this video come straight from my own brain juice. Also, this video contains spoilers for the 5.3 Archon quest and the Netland finale, as well as some speculative what-ifs, so watch at your own risk. Also, this is my first video, at least on this channel, so I will talk a little bit about my future plans at the end, just if you're interested. Now, enjoy! Capitano. Looking back, he might actually be my favorite character besides Ether in the entire game. Ever since his first appearance in the story, thousands of players around the world have been waiting for his strip marketing, just for HOYOVERSE to put him to sleep. No idea if he's even still alive. I'm sure he is. Right? Yeah, I mean, last Nero had a similar fate, but after what she pulled in Mondstadt, she was already cancelled in my book. Plus, it's kinda hard to bring back a pile of ashes or make it playable again. I mean, what would she even do? Be blown away by the wind? Wait. Anyways, back to Capitano. HOYOVERSE could have made an absolute fortune with the Capitano release, but we know he probably won't be playable anymore, at least not in version 5 and thus not in Netland. There is this one line from Mikael and Ludmilla in Mondstadt where they mention that the Tsaritsa has decided to keep his position as the first harbinger, which could be a hint at a possible return, but as of now we don't know anything solid. So, I had the brilliant idea to just design my own version of him. I went online to look for a Capitano model and found this sexy schmexy Capitano by White Mage Sunny, link in the video description. Then I looked for a few animations and fired up Unity to start a new project. My coding level somewhere between this and... wait, why is my computer smoking? Okay, sorry to everyone who thought I was about to code a fully working Capitano, gotta stay realistic, so I did what any mental sane person would do. That's right, I just asked ChatGPT to handle the programming for me and... okay, long story short, after a few hours of messing around and getting nowhere, I downloaded the Genshin Impact movement system by Wafflos from GitHub, link also in the description. And then I swapped out the animations and the character model. To anyone who thinks that was easy, nope. It took me 4 hours just to import the textures properly. Anyway, I now have a functioning Capitano who's still kind of sliding around the floor and has probably forgotten some of his animations in Snezhnaya. Unfortunately without effects or attacks for his skills, so I have to improvise for this. But I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's finally start with Capitano's backstory. Il Capitano. Originally known as Thrain, was a commander from Conria. During the Cataclysm, he witnessed his homeland, family and comrades fall victim to the destruction caused by the Abyss. After a futile resistance, he realized the hopelessness of the situation and fled with the surviving members of his squad to Netland. There, he found an ally in Aizu, the leader of the Masters of the Nightwind, and joined the fight against the Abyss. After Aizu's death, Thrain discovered the secret of the Pyronosis and began to blame Malvika for Netland's suffering. Through a modification of his heart, Thrain was able to absorb memories and souls and release them later. He collected the souls of the fallen comrades as they were unable to enter the Night Kingdom since they were not from Netland. Like all Conrians, he was cursed with immortality and eventually joined the Fatui as the first of the Harbingers Il Capitano. In this role, he participated in major events including Arlecchino's promotions, Signora's funeral and a meeting with Barca, which ended in mutual respect. Later, Capitano returned to Netland and got involved in local conflicts. He searched for Citlali, who could communicate with the Wyob and the Night Kingdom. In his search, he confronted Malvika and was defeated, but managed to escape. Ultimately, Capitano realized that Malvika's plan was the better solution and pledged his troops to help stop the Abyss invasion. After the victory, he offered the Flower Feather clan a cure for Abyss corrosion. In a conversation with the Traveler, he finally revealed his true face to express his hatred towards the Ruler of Death. He later offered himself as a substitute sacrifice for Malvika. By transferring his immortal life force, he prevented the death of the Lord of the Night and allowed the souls he had carried in his heart to pass into the Night Kingdom. His body remained on the throne of the Primal Fire, while his consciousness moved into the Night Kingdom. In recognition of his sacrifice, a monument was built for him, and the Tsaritsa kept his position as number 1. Now onto his kit. I really wanted him to be a strong DPS who also supports his team, so more of a DPS support hybrid. He also needed a kind of sacrifice mechanic to tie into his ending. Keep that in mind. And yes, I know he's kind of broken. Looking back at it, he might be too broken, but so are Nuvelet, Alekino, Mavrika and others, so it's not that unrealistic. Sorry for the long intro, here is a dancing Capitano to make up for it. Capitano is a main DPS support hybrid. He uses a sword and is a cryo character. His normal attack, Blade of Justice, is exactly what you'd expect. Normal. We've got a regular combo, a charge attack, and a plunging attack. His elemental skill is a bit special. In his fight against Mavrika, he has this light blue aura that looks suspiciously like Nightsoul Blessing, even though he's not from Netland. So I wanted to give him improved mobility like all Netland characters, but without the high-tech stuff. When Capitano activates his elemental skill, Soul Frost of the Night, he gains 100 Nightsoul points, which decrease at the rate of 10 points per second. Pressing the skill again will end it early. While in the Nightsoul Blessing state, he gains the following effects. Normal attacks deal piercing cryo damage, crit damage is increased by 60%, damage is increased by 1% per consumed Nightsoul point up to a maximum of 50%. A small icy surface forms under his feet, allowing him to walk on water. Movement speed while sprinting and walking is increased. You can think of it like HOYOVERSE's talent, which speeds up her movement. I didn't want to give Capitano a vehicle since it doesn't fit him, nor did I want him to slide like Frozone, especially since he already slides in Unity.
In times of crisis, someone must pick up the mantle of salvation. And now it falls to me to create new rules for Natland.
Where is my super suit?
But I still wanted him to have some movement boost. All these buffs remain active as long as the Nightsoul Blessing state is. Before we talk about his elemental burst, it makes sense to go over his third passive talent Burst. As some of you probably know, Netland characters get a bonus passive talent related to Phlogiston. Since Capitano is not from Netland, I wanted him to have a passive that works without Phlogiston and isn't tied to being in Netland. Passive talent 3, Lord of the Night's Gift. When Capitano runs out of Nightsoul points, he can maintain Nightsoul Blessing state by consuming his own HP. He loses 4% of his max HP per second for 8 seconds, with this cost increasing by 2% each additional second. The goal here is that you shouldn't stay in this state forever just because you have a strong healer. If Capitano's HP reaches or drops below 0% due to this effect, Nightsoul Blessing ends instead of killing him. HP consumed in this way counts as Nightsoul points being spent. Additionally, this talent allows you to switch to Capitano while sprinting or swimming with another character, instantly triggering Nightsoul Blessing and granting 40 Nightsoul points. All of these effects are not bound to Phlogiston or Natlan. Elemental Burst, Sacrifice of the Sentinel Knight. This ability cannot be charged with regular elemental energy, similar to Mavrika's. It requires 110 energy. Capitano gains 50% of the energy cost used by a teammate when they cast their burst. He also gains 1 energy for every 100 HP lost by him or any teammates. If his collected energy exceeds 110, it is stored in his soul vessel, which can store up to 35 energy. This stored energy is automatically applied to his burst the next time it's used, similar to Archeron from Honkai Star Rail, who stores up to 3 extra stacks of her ultimate. The burst has 2 versions depending on Capitano's current HP. If used below 50% HP, he heals himself to 100% of his max HP, pauses the drain of Nightsoul points or HP for 5 seconds, and deals cryo AoE damage equal to 600% of his attack. The burst with 50% HP or more is heavily inspired by a character from Honkai Impact 3rd, namely from Fuhua. When she uses her burst, she drains her HP to 1 and deals damage based on the consumed HP. So that's exactly what I did here. If you use Capitano's burst with 50% HP or more, Capitano drops his HP to 1, then deals cryo AoE damage equal to 800% of his attack, plus 1000% of the consumed HP as piercing damage. This ignores defense, resistances, shields, immunities, and enemy buffs. And it hits in a single damage instance. Afterwards, his HP is set to 10%. The bonus from his passive talent 4, Frozen Heart, remains active for 5 seconds even if he drops below 50% due to this burst. More on that later. His first passive talent, Icy Wind, also has to do with his elemental burst and gives him his support elements, again depending on his HP. When using his elemental burst below 50%, he heals the entire team for 100% of his attack plus 15% of their maximum HP. In addition, he increases the team's maximum HP and energy recharge by 30% for 15 seconds. If he uses the elemental burst with 50% HP or more, he increases the attack and all elemental bonus for the entire team by 25% for 20 seconds. The second passive is again inspired by other Nightling characters. It is called Master of the Ley Lines and grants Capitano a stack of Ice Patent when Night Soul Burst is triggered. Each stack lasts 30 seconds and increases the damage dealt with elemental burst by 10% for the entire team and stacks twice. When Capitano uses his elemental burst, all stacks are removed. We've already covered the third talent, so let's talk about the fourth. This is normally an exploration talent, but Tartaglia and Arlecchino already showed us that it can be done differently. Frozen Heart grants Capitano 1% cryo damage bonus for every percent of his HP above 50 and increases his defense by 100 as long as he's above this 50% threshold. As mentioned earlier, the current bonus remains for 5 seconds even if his HP drops below 50% due to his elemental burst. Okay, we're halfway there. Before we go into total whale territory, let's start with his weapon. Of course, I've tried to make it as universal as possible and yet perfectly suited to Capitano, not like all the weapons that came out recently. Antambra, apparently the official name of his sword, is a one-handed sword that has 674 base attack at level 90 and gives 22.1 crit rate. The effect Soul of the Frost King increases critical damage by 30% at R1 and 60% at R5. If the equipped character loses HP or Night Soul points, this bonus is increased by 50% for 4 seconds. In addition, the damage of all elements and physical damage is increased by 15% at R1 and 30% at R5, if the character's HP is at 90% or more. If the character has 10% HP or less, his attack and passive healing bonus is increased by 20% at R1 and 40% at R5. If the HP lies between 10 and 90%, the buff disappears after 4 seconds. So, I hope you're ready to empty your wallets because now it's time for the constellations. I've based this on the latest characters where C2 and C6 are usually the strongest, followed by C1 and C4. His C1, Thrain the Fallen Captain, increases Capitano's maximum Night Soul points to 160 and the Soul Vessel storage to 70. In addition, his attack increases by 0.5% for every point of energy in the Soul Vessel. This buff lasts for 5 seconds after the storage is used up. In addition, Capitano's interruption resistance increases as long as the Night Soul Blessing state is active. The second constellation, Soul Prison, creates a Cryo Soul Aura while Capitano is in Night Soul Blessing state, which reduces the cryo resistance of all enemies within it by 15%. When an enemy dies within the aura, Capitano's Soul Vessel fills by 5 points. Kandria Spirit increases the level of the elemental skill and normal attack by 3 up to a maximum of 15. C4, Eternal Blizzard, puts enemies hit by Capitano's burst into a state of cryostasis. This affects normal enemies for 10 seconds and weekly and world bosses for 5 seconds. Enemies in cryostasis cannot move, are permanently affected by cryo, take 50% more damage from all sources, and cannot be released from this state by melt or shatter. Ruler of Frost increases the level of the elemental burst by 3 with a maximum level of 50. And now the creme de la creme, C6, Apocalyptic Ice Age. Capitano's Night Soul Blessing remains active even after switching out. During this time he continuously loses Night Soul points or HP, and all effects triggered by the Night Soul Blessing state remain active. As long as his elemental skill is active, the crit damage of the entire troop increases by 50%. In addition, the Cryo Soul Aura of the Constellation Soul Prison has further effects. It drains all enemies in the area of 3% of their maximum HP per second and applies cryo to them in addition. Capitano is healed for 2% of his maximum HP every second per enemy within the aura. If enemies with less than 50% HP are in the aura or enter it, they'll die immediately. And that concludes the complete kit. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you would play him and which team you would play him with. I'd also be interested to know if you had any other ideas for this kit, or if you'd find something completely different more suitable. Just let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video if you liked it. I'm already working on the next character, and it will hopefully be online in the next 1 to 2 months. If you don't want to miss it, then please subscribe. So now to my future plans. As most of you probably don't know, I have a German main channel where I also post this type of content and additional HOYOVERSE and anime stuff. But on this English channel I only plan to post character fan kits like this one. I already have 2 more finished and posted over on my German channel, and if this video gets enough attention I will also translate them and post them over here, as well as future character kits. So let me know if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay healthy. Peace.